What is good, guys? Welcome to another show of Let's Cap. Obviously, I'm Ronald, also known as Youcapper from sportsmemo.com. Today, we got two of my good buddies here, YBB Sports Data on Twitter, and Kevin Braudis, KB Sports _ on Twitter. YBB is one of the top trend guys I know out there. Probably one of the most underrated follows on Twitter, to be honest, because he brings that comedic aspect to it. KB, one of the top up and coming handicappers out there as well. He's probably the first guy I hit up when we talk about when I'm looking at MLB and prop bets. One of the most smartest guys I know, especially with the prop game. He co-hosts a podcast called the Bettors Box, where they break down every single game on the slate at a very, very high level. And I'm talking about pitching arsenals, bat angles, spin rate, and more. Both of these guys are top knowledgeable guys that I'm glad to have on my side. Today we're going to be recapping the Warriors Mavs, breaking down the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics. YBB and KB will be breaking down some MLB as well, 3 games on the slate. And I'll be touching maybe on one of the WNBA games if we have time. So we're going to have a full plate today of betting content. But before we get into it, I do want to check in on my guys. KB, I love seeing your recaps with all the money bags, man.
Yeah,
how you doing? Let the viewers know how you did yesterday and how you've been doing so far in the bases.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me on, Kabang. Always a pleasure, bro. And thanks for the intro, hyping me up. But yeah, bases have been going really good. May's been on fire. I always hate saying this, but like the last 2 days, 8-0. So again, you always are afraid to have like a letdown. But yeah, baseball's been rolling, and like props in NBA and baseball have been extremely good. So hopefully we keep that up.
Yeah, YBB, I know you hit the Warriors 1-H yesterday, first half. But I know you ain't happy about that Mavs going home either. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, man, I'm hanging in there, but you know what? It was I hate to say that it was like expected. The Warriors they were a better team than us, and I want Chris cap in spaces, and I mentioned that too. Like, yeah, I'm a Mavs fan, but also I try to be as real as possible when it comes to betting on the Mavs or fading them. I had them in the first half, but I also selfishly took the under in that spot, so that didn't go well for me. I went in the red yesterday for the first time this week, so I'm hoping to get back on track today. I do have one play that I absolutely love, and I can't wait to break it down with you.
Yeah, sorry, I was messing around with the view, seeing where we could look at how we could look better. But yeah, I definitely see that. So I mean, since we're talking about it, let's just go ahead and head into that recap real quick. Obviously, we've seen the Warriors kind of dominate through that whole matchup. The Mavs put in like a little push in the second half, but obviously not enough to get it done. What do you think about the Warriors here and how they went into this game? Because for me, I was on the other side. I had the Mavs coming into this one, hopefully staying close or even taking the lead by halftime, and then seeing the Warriors dominate the rest of the way. Obviously, that didn't go to plan. But what did the Warriors do? What did the Mavs not do to stay close in this game? Like, what were the things that they missed out on? Was it like the offensive rebound? Did they struggle defensively, or were they just not missing their shots? YBB, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's just a mixture of both. You can't have Luka Doncic trying to make baskets and then stay. It looked like he never wanted to cross half court. Like, yeah. He's complaining for fouls. He doesn't play defense. Maybe he's just doing too much. I'm not too sure. And then on top of that, yeah, we need a big bad, because we were getting, out rebounded heavily by Kevon Looney single-handedly. So yeah, I mean, it's funny though, the Mavs, we tried to play that small ball lineup and, match that same style of play that the Warriors had. And, from the beginning, I was like, if we try to play Warriors basketball, we're going to lose. And that's exactly what we were trying to do the whole series. We were fortunate enough to get one win out of it, but playing small ball lineup against a small ball team who actually plays that way is just not, that's not the way to win a series or, be competitive at that. So, yeah, I mean, we need a center this offseason. We need man. I think we're just one piece away though, damn it. Like we're good. We're young, but we're like that one piece away from going to the next round. So
yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I mentioned on Twitter too is like Luka came in and then the Warriors ended up hitting 9 straight points, and you can kind of see he was kind of frustrated with not getting the fouls called. He was like not even in the picture, when in those possessions where he went in for a layup, didn't get a foul call. He just stayed over there and complained, or even just jogged back. By the time the Warriors scored, he wasn't even in the picture. Like, what are your thoughts on that, KB? Like, Luka is obviously a generational talent, but to have that type of I wouldn't say like an ego, but he's at that point where he just thinks he has to get all the calls made. I think Tatum actually had this problem early in the Miami series. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's just hard because I feel like he thought he had to do it all, and again, he's amazing player. But like, I'm just going to be summing up short and sweet. It's what Sports Data said. It was the rebounding that made the complete difference. Again, if Looney is killing you on rebounds, it's a huge problem. And I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings at all, but yeah, I think that game the Mavericks did take, and I know a ton of people were on the Mavericks to take this series, but I'm kind of shocked. I kind of stayed out of this one as far as player props go and everything, and I was just a fan to bang, so not too much on the yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was a tough game to watch. I was hoping it was going to be a lot closer, but yeah, respect to the Warriors, and we'll see how that goes in the next round. So with that, let's go into breaking down this Miami Heat versus Celtics. Let me check the lines. So I got the wrong lines in there, but we have the Miami Heat visiting the Boston Celtics. We're seeing 8.5 and -9. Earlier I saw all -8.5. So it looks like there's some coming back towards Boston. As far as total, it opened up at 200. We're seeing 201.5 right now. KB, let's start with you. What are your takes on this one?
Yeah, so I've been on this Al Horford train for a while, and again, I took his rebound prop over last game, and it did not hit, but I am not going to get scared away from that. I'm going to go right back to the well with Al Horford over 8.5 rebounds. Again, if you look at throughout last game, the other 2 games, 13 rebounds, 14 rebounds, and again, his rebound opportunities last 3 games, 19.5 rebound opportunities. And then when I looked and I broke the game down from last time, I mean, Tatum ended up with 12 rebounds and Williams ended up with 10. And then I'm just thinking to myself, why aren't their lines moving? So then it's a clear Al Horford play. I don't want to overthink this. He can definitely grab some boards and he's going to play a lot of minutes. We kind of talked about that before the show. So that's my easy breakdown on that, man.
What was the number on the rebounds there?
8.5, brother.
8, dude. Yeah, that that looks like a low number. The only way that I could think that doesn't happen is if this is a blowout game. That's the only way that I could think it won't happen, because Miami can't hit shots. That's going to give him a lot of opportunity here in a closeout game. If it's tight, he's going to play a lot of minutes because you want the key players in there, right? You want to close this out now. You don't want to go back to Miami and then make it go back to a 7-game a 1-game series in Game 7. So I definitely like that look right there. YBB, what are your thoughts on this one?
I am taking the Miami Heat in the first half to cover the spread, and I won't even be shocked if they're winning again at halftime and then they lose in the second half. This is a spot that has a similar game flow as Game 3 when Miami Heat was a +6.5 underdog in Boston and they ended up going out there and winning outright. It has the same exact layout. I think that bettors, public bettors are thinking, what have you done for me lately? The Heat haven't showed up. They haven't performed. Jimmy Butler is struggling. The threes aren't dropping for the Miami Heat. But one thing they are doing is that they are actually out shooting the Boston Celtics by marginal differences. Like last game, they took 20 more shots. They're not falling, but this is another generous number. And now we're getting +8.5 on a full game and +5.5 in the first half. There's some trends that I want to share. That kind of swayed me in the first half direction. So, the Celtics, they're 0-11 ATS in their last 11 home games following back-to-back double-digit victories. And if you look at the first half breakdown, they're actually losing those first halves as well. It's more of a letdown spot for the Celtics. What they do is they play with comfort. They play with comfort knowing that they have a lead, knowing that, they play with comfort and it bites them in the ass in the first half. The other thing is that the Celtics are 0-9 ATS in their last 9 games as a home favorite when coming off of a win of at least 14 points versus a conference opponent. So all of these are just they're trends that follow a game plan. This is a spot where, of course, they want to close it out, and can they? Yeah, they can do exactly what they did last game. They can outscore them in the second half by marginal numbers, and end up covering the spread anyways. But the Miami Heat, if you look at what they did in the season, number 1 3-point shooting team. They made 7 3-pointers the last game. They took a lot, but they only made 7. The Miami Heat, they're a perfect 9-0-1 ATS in the last 9 games, following a game in which they made fewer than 9 threes and attempted at least 31. They're perfect in that spot, and these are marginal first half covers as well. Let's see, 2-7. They're usually covering these first half numbers. I'm sorry, they're winning outright by about 9. So we're seeing marginal numbers in that first half where they actually come out, they respond well, their backs are to the wall. Here's another thing I want to note is that the Celtics, we don't know what their lineup is just yet. We have Robert Williams listed as questionable. Marcus Smart is still hurt. There's still concerns over there. I haven't heard anything from Underdog about who's in, who's out. But I have heard that the Heat are, we're starting Lowry. Everybody's in. Tyler Herro might play. I'm not too sure. I don't see why he wouldn't, though, in an elimination game, possibly the last game of the season. Why not suit up, man up, play it out. But, overall, though, I like the Heat in this spot. And I have a slight lean to the over because I do think that these totals they're readjusting and correcting themselves based on the prior 2 games that happened in the series. But these are teams that have gone over as well in the first 3 meetings of the series. So while we're seeing that correction, a lot of that has to do with missed shots. Are we going to get those missed shots today? I mean, it's possible. But I would lean to the over just because also the Heat, they're 10-1 to the over in road games when avenging a home loss. So I like that spot. And I'm with Jay right there, too. I also said that on my Twitter, and a part of me was kidding, but a part of me is also not kidding. I won't be surprised if the Miami Heat come out and, win straight up. Again, this is the same layout as Game 3 where everybody was on the Celtics because they won the prior game by 20 points. When they follow up those games, though, they're not covering spreads. It's like a comfort spot for the Celtics. They start playing lackluster. It's not necessarily a play on the Heat as much as it is a fade on the Celtics and the number. I think 8 is too wide. Give me the Heat in the first half. I won't be shocked if they're even winning outright after the first half.
Yeah. Before I add on to that, KB, I seen you nodding your head. You have anything to add to that?
No, I like kind of what Jay in the comments and Sports Data was saying about the first half play. But you know me, I think these lines are so tight in the playoffs, and I know we've seen a lot of blowouts, but my thing in NBA is definitely props, and that's what I stick to for that for sure.
Yeah. So for me, YBB, I was looking at that too. Obviously we were thinking about a bounce back in the last game for Miami, especially since they shot 36% in Game 4. They come back in Game 5 and they shoot 32%. What happens there? You would expect, especially in the playoffs, for a team to bounce back like that. They shot 32% from the field the last game, 7 for 45 from 3. You brought up that good trend of shooting terribly from the 3-point. And what I actually looked at too was the Heat. They were held to under 85 in 2 straight games in a row now. So I wanted to kind of see, obviously we're trend guys here, and we want to see, what happens in those instances when teams get limited to that low of a number back-to-back games, not only in the playoffs, but also in the regular season. It only happened once. Actually, it didn't happen at all this season. This is the first instance, and this is a Miami Heat team that is in the playoffs. This isn't like a Blazers team or any of those bottom feeders. This is a legit team, and this is just shows how serious the Boston Celtics are taking these games here. The last instance was actually last year, and before that, it was in the 2018 NBA season. The last time it's happened in the playoffs was in the 2016-2017 season. So this is rare territory, especially in modern basketball, to score under this amount in 2 games straight. These guys, how you block these dudes? Let me get back to that. But basically, this is rare territory. I think this is a spot where I would think the Heat bounce back. Like you said, maybe an over game, maybe the Heat cover the first half and possibly win the game outright. But for me to see them not come back in the game that they should have in the previous one, that kind of keeps me off of it. But I do think at the very least that first half, I'm with you on that. I feel like that is a spot here for them to at least stick around the first half. Um, I'm with you as well as far as this line being too heavy at -8.5 or -9. That's something that I just can't see in this spot the Celtics doing getting that done. But I'm actually on the opposite side with the total here. I think the pace and the defense that have been playing the last couple of games have been trending towards the under. Miami really can't buy a bucket at this point. I don't think they could outscore Boston either. I think they're going to need to play solid defense and limit the amount of points that the Celtics put on the board. And if they could do that, then that's the part. That's where the Miami could get the W here. So that's my take on that one. Any last thoughts on that before we head into the baseball?
Nothing else.
My bad.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give Ronald one last trend on that. So you like the under in this spot, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's not something I put the money on, but it's just for me when I'm looking at these two teams, the pace that they've been playing at, and also how bad they have been doing offensively, and just the fact that you would have expected a bounce back from Heat, and they didn't give it to us. So I can't expect them to bounce back another one when they already shot 32% from the field.
Man, I like that. I like the look, and I mentioned this as well. Like the trends don't always, they're not always a telling story. There's more than trends. There's systems. There's the eye test. The eye test tells you that these teams are going to miss shots. There's going to be a lot of bricks. And to me, this is why I stayed off of the total because I agree with you 100%. I just think that the total, to me, in my opinion, right, it's just adjusting a little too much. And, the Celtics, they've gone a perfect 11-0 to the over. And these are marginal overs. Their favorites at least 8 points. That was the key for me to step out because I was with you as well. I was like, man, I'm going to take that under. But I hate some of the trends that guide me into a different direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's just like, man.
That's what happens.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens though. Like I think at this point in time, when you only have one game per day, you can't just force a play, right? Like you have trends going one way, but your mind's going another way. It's that time where you're just like, all right, forget it. I'm gonna look at a different angle and see if I can make a bet, maybe at the prop angle or the side, and just not mess with the total, if that's the case. But yeah, I mean that like I said,
right.
That's the way that I was looking, but I haven't put money on it. So that I wouldn't advise anyone to do it at this point, but that's just where I was looking. But yeah, that was a solid breakdown here for the Miami Heat Boston Celtics game. I love the chat going on. We got Jay, Mitch, Free Mind, all these guys dropping gems out here. So I love it. Thank you guys for adding all to the chat. But yeah, let's move into the MLB here. I'm gonna let you guys rock with these right here. You guys are the MLB guys that I look up to here, especially with the trends with YBB and KB bringing all the analytics and stats. So first we're gonna go into the Yankees and Rays. These two teams here, big rivalry. We have the Yankees visiting Tampa on the road here. So what are your thoughts on this one, KB? Let's start with you.
Yeah, man, this is my favorite play of the day. So buckle up. It's a 3% play for me, and it's definitely going to be a K prop for the Rays. His name's Jeffrey Springs. His K prop right now is 4.5 on DraftKings. I got it at plus 110. It's down to plus 100 right now. He's a lefty, 6'3", 220 pounds, and this guy brings in my favorite pitch arsenal that I look for when taking a K prop: a fastball, a changeup, and a slider. And I'm talking about a really good changeup. He has about a 10-mile-an-hour difference between his fastball and his changeup. His spin rate's amazing on that changeup as well. His slider needs a little bit of work, but not a lot of people are hitting it. He has Ks on every single pitch and 19 Ks so far this year on his changeup. And if you look at this guy, he has a 1.32 ERA, but that let's just throw that out and focus on like him currently. He's been a reliever like his whole major league career. He's pitched in 12 games this year, but only 4 starts. And looking at his last 5 seasons, he's only started 6 games. But this guy has all the K upside in the world, and I think that's why we're seeing this at 4.5. So I'm going to take advantage of it. If you look at his Ks per 9 this year, 8.8. But if you look at recent years, 12.6 Ks per 9, 12.4 Ks per 9. This guy can get it done. Looking at this Yankees lineup, I broke their entire lineup down and looked. They all struggle with this changeup and sliders. He will be able to use this slider on this Yankees lineup. Yankees are striking out 8.1 times per game this year. It's a Springs K prop for me, man. If he goes 5 innings, he can easily get 1 K per inning. And I don't even think we need 5 innings out of him. I think he gets it done in 3 or 4.
Yeah, this is I'm bringing this up right now. While you guys talk and break down, I'm gonna go through these stats here on Spodez. But it's interesting to note that you bring up Springs the K props because and like you said, you don't really at the number at 4.5, you don't really need him to play the whole or to pitch the whole 5 innings, because look at his strikeouts per outing is 5.5, and he's not pitching nearly to that 5 innings per outing either. So that's definitely a good look here, in my opinion. I think that's one, obviously you can see his strikeout potential is there with all the analytics that you brought up, and the numbers too for this current season is looking like it's trending in that direction. So I love that look there. YBB, what are your thoughts on this one?
See, this is the reason why I do not like betting on Rays and Yankees games. KB has me thinking that the Rays are the bright play in this spot. He probably has a better read on this game than I do. The only trend that I really want to bring up is James Taillon and his starts. When he's not starting in a series opener, coming off of a prior loss where he had allowed at least 4 hits, the Yankees are 15-6. They're winning 71.4% of those games. They are 15. I'm sorry. I have the wrong stat for you guys. They are 15-6 straight up as a dog or even money. This is a game that I want.
Are you guys there?
He's breaking up on us.
Oh yeah, he broke up. Okay, you there? YBB, you good? Oh man, I can't hear you, bro.
We can keep it going, Kabang. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that is the Yankees and the Rays here. I'm bringing up the lines for the day just to see, what the odds are currently. So the next game we're going to bring up here, we're going to do the Rangers and the A's. We got the Rangers visiting the A's, and the current line here, we have Rangers as the favorites, -125 as the consensus, total at 7. What are your thoughts on this one, KB? Let's get you going.
Yeah, first look, you would think this would be like a dog price on the A's. And when I look at the ticket splits, it looks like it's 50-50, which I love taking games like this. Again, you can kind of throw out that like bullshit, excuse my language, but like on the line movement. So again, I really like taking these games where it's a 50-50 split. I can just use stats, my numbers, my feel, situational spots, and this is a Rangers spot for me. I get, if you look at John Gray for the Rangers, you can look at his 5.14 ERA and be like, oh my God, this guy sucks. But he really doesn't. A 3.31 FIP. His bat bib looks good. His regression's going to come down. His only issue he really had was his walks at the beginning of the year, but he's been a little bit better with that. And I really do think this Oakland A's lineup's going to struggle with them. But that's not the biggest reason why I'm taking the Texas Rangers. I'm taking them because it's a clear fade of Cole Irvin. Again, 28-year-old for the A's. He has a 3.21 ERA, but then when you look at his advanced numbers, they're way worse. His spin rates suck. His swinging strike rate sucks. He's allowing home runs. And again, he doesn't have anything overpowering. Righties are hitting 274 off him. Again, this is just a clear spot for me to take the Rangers. I think it's a great look, and they won game 1 and a tight one yesterday. I think this one could be tight, but it's the Rangers for me, and I'm going to be specifically on the first 5 Rangers. You can take first 5 money line, but I'm just going to take first 5 minus the half a run plus 120 because we don't play for pushes, do we, Kabang?
No, we don't. And I like that look too because you can see here how the A's have been hitting against starting righties. Under 200 at home and only averaging about 2.5 runs per game. So that's something to look into here. And with the Rangers being able to get some power with the home runs here, 1.1 versus the lefties, starting lefties, it's a good look. I definitely agree with that take here. YBB is back here. YBB, we just kind of went through that Rangers A's game right there. Sorry you had some technical difficulties, but you got anything to add on this one?
Which game are we talking about now? We're talking about Rangers
and the A's. Yeah, Rangers and A's.
Yeah, I'm not gonna add too much to that one. But yeah, I cut out at my last point on the Yankees and Rays. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if
go ahead. Get back to it.
I had technical. I just think that the line is sharp. I think that the line is incredibly sharp, and for those reasons, I usually stay away. I don't like betting on accurate numbers. I like to bet on edges. You know, there's trends that support both sides of that game that, you know, lead me to believe that it's not a great game to wager on. I mean, unless you have a better look than I do, I don't have a good read on the game. So for that reason, I'm out. As for the Rangers, man, again, we were talking about this pre-show. KB, he talked me completely off of the other side. So I have no input in that game.
Yeah. I mean that's a tough look to go into something where you don't have a good read. So it's always, but you hear stuff like, you know, what KB brings to the table, you know, all the numbers, the analytics, you know, even the pitch, like you said, the pitching arsenal. That's one thing that I learned from KB is that difference between the changeup and the fastball. When you have a higher difference in the miles per hour, it confuses the batters a little bit more, right? Because in that way, you got your time in the bat, you know, your time in the swings, and you know, when you have that big of a gap between the miles per hour, that shit's confusing as hell, man. Especially when how fast they come to begin with, right? I mean, the faster your fastball, right? Even if it's a 90 fastball to a 80 changeup, if you have like a 95 to 85 changeup, I mean that gap is still the same. So that's some stuff that I learned from KB, and I love that aspect of it that a lot of people don't think about, especially when you're looking at K props.
And every day, bang, real quick, every day I look at, so I just break down every single game, but looking at some pitch, you know how hard it is to hit in the MLB? Like we're talking like 18 inches of horizontal run. I mean, the shit's just insane to me sometimes.
I kind of compare it to kicking a penalty kick in soccer, right? It's almost like guesswork to a certain degree, right? To my opinion. So yeah, no, I definitely get it. But yeah, that's the Rangers and A's game here. Then next up we have Astros and Mariners. Astros visiting the Mariners. Let's see what the current line is here. Astros are favored, big favorites. Consensus at -210. The total at 7.5 right now. Opened up at 7, so the total's going up. There's people are expecting runs here apparently. So YBB, I'll let you start this one off.
I kind of agree with the line movement in the spot. This is a trend that I've been studying for this MLB season. The Mariners are 23-4 to the over with totals that are less than 7. Now that line has moved, and that kind of reflects, you know, the trend that I'm discussing. Also, if you look at divisional games and series openers, when the home team has a pitcher that is off a loss and the total is 7, the over under is 15-4. It's about an 80% hit rate, and these are marginal overs. They're going over by about 3 runs per game. So there's only one direction I would look here. It would be the over. Now, as far as like the system that I shared with you earlier on the Mariners, I kind of backed off a little bit, and the reason why is because Justin Verlander, you know, he's won 8 consecutive starts versus the Mariners, and Chris Flexen isn't who he was last year. We'll just say that, you know, as nicely, but he's 0-6 straight up versus the Astros in his career starts. So this is a spot where the total is low enough for me to lean the Mariners on the run line. But the trends are telling me that I should just stay off of a side and just maybe go with the over as you know, the best look in this game. So yeah, I'm not gonna entertain the run line. I'm not gonna entertain the dog. I'll take the over, and you know, we'll go for some runs here.
Yeah, so I was looking at the starting pitchers here. Obviously, we're seeing Verlander with a solid ERA here, but his FIP is above 2. Above 2.5, I believe, and then Flexen, he's already nearing a 5.0 ERA, but then his FIP is above 5.5. Do you see some regression here, KB? Like as far as, you know, YBB is looking at the over. Do you see some regression here, and is that the reason why we're seeing you know, the number going up from 7 to 7.5?
This is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, but let me just say something on the FIP and BABIPs. Verlander's always, I mean, this guy's been in the league forever. I feel like he's 50 years old.
He's like 40.
Yes, he's always had ERAs. He's always had his ERA way lower than his FIPS, like almost across his entire season. So I just throw that bullshit out. I don't even look at that anymore. If a pitcher's had a long career like that, there's nothing to bring up. But it's like, can the Mariners hit this guy? Lefties hitting 148 off him, righties hitting 174. The guy's almost been unhittable. And then I'm gonna ask, like, I'm just gonna like Verlander's last 3 starts, 0 earned runs in every single one. It's hard to take it over, but I don't know why. I got this gut feeling you're right on that sports data, but like you got to get your Houston runs, and hopefully that happens for you because looking at this Chris Flexen guy, yes, I'm way down on him. 6'3" righty, 27 years old. He brings in really just a 2-pitch arsenal, a 4-seam fastball, a cutter, and then he mixes in a change every once in a while. But literally 70% of his pitches are 4-seam fastballs and cutters. It's almost the exact same velocity. Everything's being hit off this guy. 262 average off his fastball, 508 slug, 275 batting average off his cutter, 406 slug. I looked at the Houston lineup. They should have no problem hitting him. But then I looked at Chris Flexen a little bit more. He's faced Houston twice now. Last game, he went 5 innings pitched, only allowed 2 hits, 1 home run, 1 earned run. And then a game, April 16th, he went 6 innings pitched, allowed 5 hits, only 3 earned runs. It's just one of those scary spots. But I don't know. This is a toss-up for me, and it's one of those games where I'm just like, get out of here, you know?
Yeah. I get it. I mean, like, you can kind of see here, what I was looking at here is how the Mariners have been hitting against righties on the home and away split. Obviously, they've been doing a little bit better here at home against righties, 255 with a 4.8 average runs. But this doesn't take into account that you're going against Verlander. You know what I mean? This is an average of through the whole season so far. So that's always tough to look at. But I do think that maybe there is a little bit of regression. I like what you just said there too, KB, because that's one thing that I looked at, and obviously I'm continuing to learn MLB at this rate. But what you brought up with Verlander being an experienced pitcher, majority of the years he has his ERA lower than his FIP. And then you were like, all right, well, someone that's been pitching for that long to just kind of toss that out the way. So would that difference between the ERA and the FIP be more important for guys who aren't as established as Verlander?
Yeah, I think it's a total thing, and I don't know about, but like Verlander's like an old school guy. He really works the corners, he paints, he does all that little extra stuff that some of these young guys coming up just throw heat and a sliders. So again, I like a big sample size on a pitcher. I don't factor in FIP as much. If there's like a 5-game or 6-game kind of sample size, that's my perfect kind of like judgment because I can look at those last 5 seasons. But I mean, go all the way back to 2006. This guy's always had a lower ERA. It's one of those things that's just like some guys beat analytics sometimes. It doesn't always have to happen. Regression or positive regression doesn't always have to happen. One more thing, though, to back the over, because, again, I don't know why. I got this weird feeling. But Seattle, man, scoring the six most runs at home this year, 4.79. And then if you look at Houston, Mitch is right. Their bats are coming alive. It's just, do you really want to go versus Verlander? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's one thing too that I looked at. That's why I brought up the home and the white splits, because I knew the Mariners were doing really well at home this season, especially against the righties here. The one thing that Henry Marshall brought up here, the Houston first 5, and also Mitch saying that the bats obviously are coming alive here for Houston. Is that a good look here in the first 5? You don't want to touch the money line because of the juice here. But with the run line being just, obviously minus a half here, at this consensus is at minus 130. What are you guys' thoughts on that one?
You got it.
I don't know. I would probably I would lean that way. Like I said, I mean, Chris Flexen isn't who we thought he was, or he's not who we want him to be this year. He went 22-9 last year, but he's off to a 1-6 start this year. So that's tough because I can see only progression from there. I refuse to believe he's only going to win 1 start in his pitch or in his starting roles this season. That's tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah,
I would lean the Astros first 5, but I don't think Flexen's going to be that bad forever.
And I wouldn't even hate anybody for taking a run line here. Again, Houston's on the road. So, again, you're going to get your full 9 ABs. And another thing I wanted to bring up, Flexen, his last 3 games, 5 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 6 earned runs. He's allowed 2 home runs or more in all 3 of those starts. I think guys figured him out about his only 2 pitches he really throws. He barely throws his changeup. So, again, Houston has faced him twice. If they can't come out here and rock his shit, I don't know what's happening. And then hopefully Seattle has a better approach with how Justin Verlander has faced them twice. You sold me on the over. I might just nibble at it with some beer money. So
I love it. That's how we do
those
it.
Trends. Yeah, well, all those trends that I pull, right? I look at them overnight. The line that I'm looking at was 7. Now it's at 7.5, and everything is just kind of thrown out the window. The Mariners are really hot when it's when the total is 7. The Houston bats are coming alive. Flexen is hittable. Maybe you look at Houston Astros team total over, but yeah, I mean this is you nailed it though. This is a tough game. Tight game to call. I'm just here to share the trends.
Yep. That's it for me, Kabang, on that one.
Yeah, man, I love it. I think with us all together, kind of just going through it, talking angles, talking trends, talking the stats, especially we were talking about this right before the show is, when we combine people, cappers who do things differently, but you end up on the same play, that's when you kind of feel like there's something going on, going in the right direction there. So I'm probably gonna ride with you guys on that over as well. I mean, I got the little Mariner shirt going on, but I don't know if they're gonna win, but if we hit the over, that's all that matters. So yeah, but that's I mean, this is
that's awesome.
This was dope. I think we're coming into time here over close to 40 minutes, so I'm probably not gonna touch on the WNBA like I thought I was, but I'll probably share something on Twitter. You guys have any last comments before we start to close out the show?
I have 0 last comments. Let's just make sure that happy betting to everybody. Good luck on all y'all's wagers, and
KB, anything?
Yep, I got nothing else. Going to the lake this weekend, man. Gonna just try to get away from sports for a little bit, dude. So I'm definitely excited for that. You guys?
Yeah, we got an extra long weekend, right? We got a holiday on Monday.
What, you doing anything, man?
Shit, I don't even know yet. With kids, man, you never know until you wake up. You gotta see how they're feeling when they wake up.
I got you. It's a day by day, bro.
Day by day, yeah. But I want to real quick. I just want to recap what we talked about. The Miami Heat game and the Boston Celtics. KB, you had Al Horford rebounds over 8.5. That I think, man, I feel like I'm about to ride with you guys when all these plays, because I didn't have shit all day. I've been trying to cap all these games, and prepare for the show, and I really couldn't find an edge. Maybe in the WNBA, but with these, I'm probably gonna rock with you guys. I like this Al Horford look over 8.5. Miami Heat. I talked to you, YBB, about this. I already was kind of leaning in that direction with Heat first half, especially with the +5. I think that's a solid look there. I'm probably gonna do that as well. KB with the Springs K is over 4.5. I think that one's solid, man. I mean, just looking at the numbers that we looked at earlier and how he does, not even reaching five innings pitched. So we don't even need a whole 5 innings for him to hit this number. That's a solid look there. KB, Rangers first 5 money line. I think you wanted to stick with the first 5 because of the starting pitchers in that angle. No pushes. Yeah, we don't want to fight with the pushes. So Matt, if you want to get kinky with it, take the run line.
Get kinky with it.
So yeah, get kinky with it, get the run line. So look at the Rangers first 5 there, and then YBB Astros Mariners over 7, maybe 7.5 if you're, depending on where your book is at right now. But try to line shop, guys. Try to get that 7 if you can. And he kind of talked to both myself and KB into this over. So, man, this was a dope show. I think I love as we progress through the NBA Finals and the WNBA, we're gonna tie in more MLB. So KB, hopefully you come in here more often, because we want to hear that knowledge. We want to hear all the shit that we don't typically hear. From other cappers like myself and KB, who are typically trends and systems. You bring another aspect to it that really, if we can combine that together, we can make some noise here. Yeah. So I want to make sure that you guys, everyone that's following, follow KB. Let me get this banner out the way. Follow KB Sports _ on Twitter, YBB Sports Data on Twitter, myself, _Capper. Follow us, guys. Again, this is the end of the show here, and I always want to end with this. Make sure you guys, those of you who are tuning in on YouTube and on Twitter, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button before you bounce. Make sure you look at the links in the description as well. I set it up so that you guys can just click on the links. You can go straight to KB's Twitter. You can go straight to YBB's Twitter. Any of the other links down there, it's all clickable. You can go straight directly to the source. And like I said, as always, I want to end with this. Please remember, whether you fade us or follow us, it's on you guys to make that call. Good luck on all your action. Till next time. Peace.